Hello, welcome to the House Medium. I am Adela Levine, your House Medium, and today we have a Reader's Room episode. That means those people who sent in their emails are either I found that the email really didn't make for a full episode or they didn't want to come on the podcast and be recorded. Usually these days, people are pretty willing to come on the podcast and be recorded. So usually it's because the incident's kind of a small incident, doesn't really have all the elements for a full episode. But as you can see, I'm going to read, I think, about 3 emails. So I do want your emails no matter what. Either you come on or I read them. All right, let's go into the Medium Brew Cafe because I got a few things I want to discuss. So first of all, I want to say we're in the Medium Brew Cafe and I'm drinking tea. Those of you who are not watching, by the way, how many people actually watch this YouTube video? I feel like I post these videos and does anybody watch that? Does anyone listen to this podcast? No, I'm just kidding. I just don't hear a lot from you. I don't hear comments from you. I don't hear people don't leave reviews. I'm putting all this stuff out here and it's like crickets. Anyway, I'm drinking a tea my friend came up with. She told me that she's been drinking barley tea. She says really good for your digestive system. And then I've been sipping lavender in there with it. It's not like tasty, but I did feel like something from it, which brings me to a couple things I want to talk about. One, how was your holiday? How was Thanksgiving? Want to hear from all of those in the States. What did you do? How did you do it? Did you stay home? Did you cook? Did you order out? Put in the comments below. Let me know because I will probably hopefully get this clip and you guys will comment back to me. For me, I baked. If you don't know me by now, then you will learn that I like to bake. I like to bake more than I like to cook. Did I cook something? Yes, we cooked steaks because the people in my family don't really eat turkey. One of them's a vegetarian, and my kiddo isn't really big into turkey. So I'm not making a whole turkey for just like me and one other person. So we did steaks and I did a salad with Parmesan cheese and cranberry and candied pecan salad with balsamic vinaigrette dressing with the steak. Also, I made, actually, my husband did a shrimp pasta for him and his mother. And then what else did we make? Oh, I did make my yams. Let's see, my yams are passed down from my father. My father taught me how to make yams. Now, back in the day, everything was canned everything. So he used to use canned yams, and then he would use the sauce that it came in the can to do the sauce that I create. However, when I became in my 30s, I learned and realized there's something called fresh yams. Yes. Took me that long. You have to realize the 80s canned vegetables and fruit was really pushed. It was almost like the thing to do. Don't ask me. Maybe someone knows. Maybe someone who has good on history knows why, but I can tell you I wasn't the only one. And when I became older, I was like, oh, I can make these out of fresh yam. So I do. What I do is I do like a sauce. I want to say it's like a sauce that is sweetened, and I use sugar and vanilla and other things, and I make the yams. Now, I discovered something called vanilla paste, which is so much better than vanilla extract. Ooh, it gives a kick. Anyway, so I made my yams because for me and my mother-in-law, because she loves them. And I didn't make all the other things that I normally make because no one really eats them but me. So it was very light, but I did bake a cheesecake. And let me tell you, everyone, it was my finest cheesecake. did I do my magic wand? I think I forgot to intro with my magic wand. Forgive me, I'm a little thrown off. Anyway, there's a magic wand for my cheesecake. I have tried to master a cheesecake, and everyone tells me, and I agree, that I feel like I finally mastered it. It came out so smooth, so creamy. I'm just really proud of it. And then I did homemade whipping cream. Now, homemade, not homemade, homemade. I still bought the whipping cream, but I whipped it up I created my own vanilla syrup. By the way, that's what brings me to this. I did a vanilla syrup. Now, this is great for your coffee. So what you do is you take sugar, water, and vanilla extract, but instead I used a vanilla paste and it came out so good. And you just stir the vanilla and the water till it melts, and then you add the extract off the stove and you let it sit for like 20 minutes, and boom, you have vanilla syrup. So I used that to flavor my whipping cream. So good, everyone. So good. So I also made my lavender syrup because I love lavender syrup in coffee. If you've never had it, you should try it. And it also is really good in my water that I make every day. Right here, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see, here's my water. Yeah, in my Stanley cup, of course. And so that's what I did. So I was very excited. Now, my next venture is I'm going to be practicing this week chocolate cheesecake. I am going to practice making it. I'm so excited because if I can master that by Christmas, then I will make a chocolate cheesecake for Christmas. So that's what I did. I also wanted to bring up something that is a little off topic in the paranormal, but is in the wellness center. I want to say something to women who are going. So if you're young, you can listen to this too, because I feel the Gen X generation is really, really helping women through perimenopause and menopause. Yes, I said the M word and the P word. People don't talk about it. When we were growing up, no one talked about it. Really, nobody talked about it. It was almost kind of like it was almost like people didn't want to talk about it because it was almost like trying to hide that they were going through it. It's not cool or something. Anyway, it is something that affects you. It just changes your life. And for young women, you don't understand. You hear about it and you hear about it. And I did too, but I didn't really hear about it. Like, it's more symptoms than you ever can imagine. One of them is brain fog. You just don't feel like yourself. And I did a lot of research on hormone therapy, replacement therapy. I did a lot of research for like a year. I researched and followed people on TikTok. I listened to other people, experts, doctors, people who are advocates. And I will say it's the Gen Xers that are really advocating and trying to help the next generation. And I finally went on it, and I can tell you right away, I felt so much better. It's kind of crazy. So if you're thinking about this, and this is not a promo, obviously, if you're thinking about this is something you're thinking about and you're scared or you're not sure, a lot of the current research, the other research was outdated. And let me tell you something for the young people who haven't gone through it, and if you're going through it, it's like they say it's equivalent to men losing their, fill in the blank, because all the testosterone comes from the danglies, let's call that. And I think it's really important to talk about. I always want to share something that I want people to feel better, because there's one thing I've learned from the other side, from higher beings. Whenever people ask me, what do aliens want to talk about? They're always talking about our health and how we're so far behind that we don't know a lot of things. And you shouldn't have to suffer, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of suffering. A lot of suffering. I know my sister had told me, like, she suffered for 25 years. No one would listen to her. No one would do anything about it. She's older than me, and she's out of it now. But I'm just kind of saying that to you, because if you're listening to this and you're going through it, go do your research. The doctors will listen to you now, and they didn't used to. They would just tell you have to live with this. And just so you know, menopause is something for the rest of your life. And the symptoms don't go away for like years, like over 10 years. So don't suffer. That's my PSA to you. because I'm telling you, people don't realize it's not just the hot flashes, it's so many other things. The brain fog, the fatigue, the insomnia, all this stuff, you feeling not like yourself anymore. So just a PS, did I say that right? PSA? Yeah. Just a little commercial that I hope will help. Little side note. Because as we're going into the month of December and it's Christmas and you get stressed, it is makes it so much worse. So I hope that helps somebody. That is all I have to say. Let's leave the Medium Brew Cafe. And if you have questions, don't you can DM me, but email me. It's just easier for me to keep track. And that's my last announcement. When you book a reading with me, just to let everybody know, I'm going to say this again and again. Don't DM me. Don't message me on Patreon. Don't text me. I will never answer texts. Go and email me so I can keep track of everybody. Any questions you have ever, I am going to feel so much better about knowing how to answer if you email me. All right, ready to get into our emails today. Now, we have a few emails and they're pretty good ones. Sorry, not just pretty good, they're good ones. And they're all a little different. So that's why I like this little batch that I have. This is from SL. Adela, how are you? I thought I would ask you about something that happened to me recently. I think the secondhand occult book that I brought had a negative entity attached to it, which was trying to attack me. This happened around Halloween. Ooh, Halloween. Yes. It happened around Halloween. Okay. All right. And I hope that made somebody jump. I really did. And I think I just recently processed it because I thought about asking you about it. The book I bought was called Psychic Self-Defense by Dion Fortune. I wanted to save some money, so I bought it online secondhand, and I thought nothing of it. It is also a book I have read online before with no problem, so I know that what happened has nothing to do with the subject matter. Anyway, I had the book in my possession for a few weeks before I decided to read it. I think the night of Halloween or the day before, I kept it in my bed and I didn't notice anything weird, but I think I did kind of put off reading it for some reason. When I did open to read it, I think I felt a little bit of an energy shift. Okay. Ooh. Energy shift. Yes. Do you feel that energy shift? It was like it was trying to I was trying to concentrate on the words, but I couldn't, and things kind of spun out of control. After I think I gave up and decided to sleep, but I did maybe start feeling like I wasn't alone. So I got up and I turned on the light. And as I was sitting up in my bed, I got a really weird thought, which was, "You're going to die." The thought really alarmed me because it felt like it was not one of my thoughts, but more like it was something taunting me. I was like, nope, nope. And I think I grabbed a crystal and went into defense mode, kind of like realizing that something might be happening. I could not shake the uneasy feeling, so I was kind of lying awake, alert, trying to figure out what was happening when I subconsciously started reciting the Lord's Prayer as a mantra. Our Father, our Father, who art out in heaven. Wait, how be thy name? Trying to remember that as I learned it in Bible school. From kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us and forgive our trespassers, for they have not something. Okay, it veered off. Okay, immediately I felt a heavy presence lift itself from my body and kind of drain away. I was really shocked because I guess I didn't want to believe that something could be going on, so I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't and fighting with my intuition. LOL. Okay. Sip of tea. But yeah, I guess the day after it was really scary to look back on, and I finally connected the dots to the book because it all started right after reading it. I took it outside and staged it and left it out, and then I staged my house, but I eventually got rid of it. I wanted to see what you thought it could be, and also how come nothing happened until I read the book. I did buy a second-hand occult book, and I had both of them together, so I just threw out the other book as well because I worry that I had both books together and I don't want anything to linger. Also, one other thing that happened the day after: a fly got into my room late at night, and I was wondering if you think it could be related. I kind of got it in my head that it was what I thought it was. Then I would start seeing bugs, and lo and behold, it did. Okay, thank you, Marcel. P.S. My Gmail app is acting weird, and it's throwing up an error message as I write this, and it has never done that before. I just thought it was interesting. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say this. I feel like what was happening is it was kind of more psychosomatic. You kind of got this occult book. You were kind of freaked out about it. If you're still reciting the Lord's Prayer, which was something I did even, when I was younger, and I would get scared when I would see stuff because that's what I knew to draw on because I was, grew up religious, and it kind of feels like you got more in your head about it. I just don't see anything. When it comes to books and things like this, can there be energy? There can, that's true. But I feel like you were kind of more scared of because you bought it secondhand and you got it in your head. And sometimes what happens is that it's kind of like intrusive thoughts, like you're having that horrible thought, which is not fun, which is, terrible, and could be freaky, but it's like a thought, that intrusive thought that jumps in to kind of deter you from like going down this venture of playing around with this book and seeing what it could do for you and all of that. So I just don't see anything. The fly, yeah, absolutely, you're kind of stretching it. This is what I want people remind people. We can sometimes stretch things because in some ways we kind of want something to be like cool and scary or paranormal, but a fly getting in your room is really just a fly. So you got to be careful about not reading too much into things, because like literally, get that? Haha, you got my joke? Reading the book? Reading into you don't want to read it too much into it because you just get in your head. So I feel like next time, if you get a book like this, feel free to sage it, clean it beforehand. And I promise you probably won't have this experience because you'll feel like, oh, I cleaned it. I, did all the things, cleanse my spot, put protective energy around me. Maybe next time also my suggestion is not just cleanse, but do like a little ritual of like, okay, I'm going to light candles and light this incense, and I'm going to really take the time and say, I am going to focus on this book and open myself up to the information. So you're kind of more going about it reverently. And I feel like that's just what happened. You just kind of jumped into the pool without any kind of like, protective gear, and you kind of felt the cold of the water. So I don't really see anything. I don't think it has anything to do with anything except for you're kind of more in your head about it and didn't feel like you had your protective energy up. So next time, do that. And it was around Halloween, so it makes sense. Okay, this one's from Dina. Hi, Adela. I wanted to ask your opinion on a situation that happened a few years ago at my sister's house. Her and her husband were renting a fairly small ranch-style home in a town in Georgia. I went there often, almost every week, and often took my granddaughters with me to visit. Callie was 7, and Callie was 7, and Zoe was 6 at the time of this particular visit. It was just a normal visit. We ate lunch, and the girls were playing with the dogs, and we all made gingerbread houses. My sister Chris had a small chalkboard that was on the wall in her kitchen, and my youngest granddaughter, Zoe, asked if she could color, chalk, and draw for a while. My sister said yes, of course, and got a chair to stand on and gave her some chalk. Soon after that, my sister started dinner. So she's like, you know, playing with the chalk and, she's coloring and doing her thing, is what she's saying. I left and head back home. About 20 minutes after we left, I got a call from Chris and she asked me if the girls knew anyone named Rosemary. I asked them both and they said no. Keep in mind, Zoe was just learning how to write her name, a few other basic words. Chris said she was going to send me a picture of what she thought of the girls had drawn on the chalkboard. Keep in mind, Zoe had just started school and was learning how to write her name along with a few other simple words like cat, dog, etc. After looking at the picture and explaining to my sister that the picture that was on the chalkboard was for sure not drawn by either one of the girls, Chris is somewhat intuitive herself as far as good feelings, bad feelings, just never really put much work into pursuing it, so she wasn't spooked at all. I just wanted to get your opinion to see what you thought and this possibly be from. So she sent me the picture and it was pretty well drawn. I'm going to look at it one more time and I'll describe it to you. And I will put this on the Instagram so you guys can go check out the picture. It was, I worked with kids and it was kind of interesting because what it has is almost looks like a leaf, like a long leaf. Which I think that part was more interesting to me. That comes from the R, so it almost looks like rosemary. You know what I mean? Like that's the interesting part. If you guys can, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll hold it up and you can see there. And for those of you who are listening, you can go to my YouTube or you can also look at, and what I get from that is that it almost looks like rosemary coming from the R, and then it's very clearly handwritten rosemary. So, and above it is scribble, which is like you can see if you're looking again on YouTube, which is, I feel, what the kid wrote. And the rosemary is clearly not a kid writing. It could be, but that's pretty advanced, and I've worked with this age. And not to mention, it's a rosemary. That's what it almost looks like. So I'm going to take a look for that. My feeling is I actually saw a woman. I see a woman. She looks fairly young. She looks like in her 30s. And I feel like what she's doing is she really likes the kids and the atmosphere. She was a mother. She looks like she was kind of around, I want to say like in the 60s. And it could be attached to the land, but it could be also could be attached to the house, but could also be attached to the land. And I feel like when I see her, she has like an apron on. It's like she definitely likes these little girls and likes the kids, and she was a mother. She died young. She died of an illness. I don't feel like she's attached to anybody in the house, so it's hard to confirm. But it's almost like the thing I'm getting is almost like she got pneumonia or something in her chest. And I do feel like something weird happened there. Now, whether the one of the kids wrote it and they tried to draw Rosemary and was channeling it, so to speak, it could be. I don't know. It just I don't want to say for sure. When it comes to kids, I'm really protective, so I really don't want to put those kids on the spotlight like that. But I can say that I do see a woman, and I don't feel this was the girls because I feel like they it doesn't look like it. It's just what kind of sticks out to me is that there's a rosemary going from the R. It's almost like an extra added thing that you just wouldn't see a child do. It was almost like making an added point. So it's very interesting, and I wonder if we can get any confirmations on this. If you can give it to us, I would love to know. Okay, so that's what I see. That's all I see. So thank you, Dina. And also, I forgot to say thank you to our other Marcel. Thank you again for sending in these emails. All right, let's get to our third. This is from Chelsea. Hi, Adela. First, thanks for sharing all that you do. I love and appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I have some battery powered floating candles that hang from the fishing wire above my stairs. You know, she has those candles that are kind of Harry Potter-ish. There is one candle in particular that I think has a weird connection to the battery, but for some reason I find it on all the time, mostly early in the morning, but occasionally throughout the day as well. There is a battery powered wand that turns them all on and off, but this one is the only quote weird one. Oops, I tried to turn the fan off. Um, Only weird one that turns on by itself. Do you feel someone is doing this to communicate, or is this a mundane situation? I've attached a few pictures for reference. So again, I have more pictures. I love that. I love when you guys send me pictures. It just makes it so fun. So what she's showing me, of course, it's right above Harry Potter. I'm showing this on YouTube, but I will post these pictures. And then she shows me this long, it's really trippy because it's this long, it's like going up the stairs. It's all lit up and the candles are floating and only the one is on. So it looks like very yeah, haunted mansion, you know what I mean? So it's really interesting. So she says, let me reread this. So there's one candle in particular that I think has a weird connection to the battery, but for some reason I find it on all the time, mostly in the early morning, but occasionally throughout the day as well. The battery's powered wand that turns them on. Oh, that's right. The wand does. Yeah, I do feel when I first read this, I'll be honest, Chelsea, right away I was like, I feel like this is like an error thing. But when I re looked at the second picture, it does feel like something's trying to grab your attention. It does feel like somebody, but I feel this person is attached to you. She's an older woman, she's on your mother's side, and she's just having fun with it. Like, it's not like it can look kind of creepy, to be honest, as I drink my tea. Ooh. Meaning, like, when I see her, she's like, oh, look what I could do. And I'm like, I don't know, you look so happy about it. You know, you're kind of creeping people out. You know, you may want to chill out on it. But she just seems kind of excited to grab your attention. She's on your mother's side. She's really trying to be involved with the kids. She said she passed in a way she knew she was going to pass, but it was like, I want to say she's kind of fairly young. I think she is in her 60s. And she's saying that she just wanted to kind of be a part of the fun with the kids. Um, she says something about a blue necklace. I don't know, like a blue heart. I don't know what that means, so I'm just passing it on. But I do feel like someone's just trying to grab your attention. It's very playful. I've had this happen to me as well. I think, I don't know if I told you guys, but recently at Halloween, I had these lights that were all these pumpkin lights, and you're supposed to turn them on. It's the same idea. And it would be different if they just kind of flicked on sometimes, but it only happened a couple of times. It came down and it was on, different things like that. So, yeah, I understand this, and I tend to feel that this is definitely trying to grab your attention. Can it be like a wonky battery? Of course. Can it be something just like a little bit off? For sure. However, I think I want to explain to people when it comes to the paranormal, they use what we have. So it's not like they're using something out of, how do I say this? It's not like they're doing something that and using something. They're not creating something. They're not creating electricity out of nowhere or whatever. They utilize what we have. So if we have like crazy lights hanging, then they're going to play with those, turn them on, turn them off, you know, things like this. So a lot of times they'll use something they know that can grab your attention. And I feel like that's what was happening. So what I would do is talk to her. She's clear. She's kind of like, I want to say she's like turns and smiles at me and it looks kind of creepy, but I don't feel like she's trying to I don't feel like she's trying to be creepy. I feel like she's trying to be like, hey, this is fun. I'm playing with the kids, you know, and she wants to play with them. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting. If you don't have someone like this in your life, please let me know. So everybody who's wrote in, you have to like let me know. You gotta email, comment on the Instagram, or something, because I need to know, like, did these things make sense? These reader room one, I don't have you on to confirm or to deny or or confirm the things I'm telling you. So I would love if you could let me know what's up and what you think. I feel like there was something else. Was there something else I was gonna tell you guys? I'm trying to remember. I had like a checklist in my mind. I think we covered the latest paranormal alien type of thing, but I think that was everything. This is like, usually the readers room episodes are kind of short because I just kind of read what people have, and these were the three that I had that I thought would be perfect for today. And like, as you can see, these are short little like incidences, rather than like, oh, then I walked into a room and like a whole long story. So, it's the day after, it's the weekend of Thanksgiving. Everyone's just kind of getting back, into gear. By the time this comes out, you're probably just getting back into the groove, and then having to gear up for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If you don't, then you don't. I myself did not grow up celebrating Christmas, so I am going to do a special episode on Kwanzaa because I want to educate everybody about it and share some of my roots of what I grew up with. And the one thing that I will find, that I do find that was great about Kwanzaa, is there was no pressure. When everyone was running around, I had no pressure, because in my family in Kwanzaa, only the kids got presents and the adults did not exchange presents. So there was never pressure, and also probably meant I didn't get gifts, and that's probably why I don't really care that much. I don't really think about it that much. But I've gotten into it over the years, because when you have a kid, you're like, okay, I want to give this to them and everything like this. But it does definitely feel like more pressure than when I grew up celebrating Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was kind of more focused on learning lessons. It's a ritual. I'll explain it. We'll go over it when it's time. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this little short podcast. And please send in your emails. Send them, please. I always need them. Write your reviews. Comment on my things. Join my Patreon. Your speed readings are probably up by the time you hear this. I do speed readings for everybody for the month of December, which means I read everybody in my Patreon. I also post a class every month for the Sacred Scholar members. And it's only $5 more. It's only $5 to join my Patreon. I do daily energy climates. I also sometimes do a little extra content for people on my Patreon. And also you get 35% off of my readings. And I do certain specials for just the Patreon people as well. For those of you who asked me to post my meditation, I did post it. You can buy it. I really had fun with this meditation. It was very different than anything I ever done. It was much more true to heart. It was much more relaxing, and people kind of really felt like they could kind of dive in and do some healing inside. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys this time. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week, I have a really good podcast episode that I think you're going to enjoy. It is my first Bigfoot story. Yes, Bigfoot Collectors Club. Somebody came to me with the Bigfoot story. Okay. I mean, sorry. This is my only one. This is it. And I'm not going to have probably it's not my usual, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Follow yourself, follow no one, listen to your inner voice, and I'll see you soon.